Hi, this is Marilyn, and today I'm going to talk about the drama triangle. I did a post about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which is a slide post about the drama triangle and what it means. Today I'm just going to do a short video on that because I'm probably going to do a live, but it probably be next week or the week after. I'm not sure, not 100% sure, because a lot of things have been happening and taking up my time. Um, but amazing, really interesting thing, the dynamic that's happened since I've posted that. I've had a lot of people send me messages or talk about it in conversations, and saying how it really impacted them learning about the drama triangle. So I wanted to cover a bit more in depth. I'm not a psychologist or a psychotherapist. However, I'm a life coach, healer, NLP practitioner, and also somebody who's undertaking psychotherapy herself for my own personal development and also so I can show up better for my clients. It's called accountability and self-care, right? Um, so it's really interesting. I had a session with my therapist yesterday and I'm talking about something, and she brings up a point. She says, for somebody who's really intuitive, I'm clairvoyant and a precognitive, um, so I can see things in the future. Um, so bearing in mind she's aware of this, and she spoke about me being intuitive. Why am I, why am I going into certain situations? I was totally shocked because I'm thinking, oh no, I'm oblivious to all that. I don't take drama on. But actually, unconsciously, I was creating certain drama situations which were not obviously dramatic, but there was a drama dynamic happening in them, um, where I was wanting to be rescued. So I didn't have a crisis, a so called crisis, where I wanted, there was some big drama happening. Um, it was subtlety. It was subtlety. It was really, really subtle. And so this dynamic, even though we think we're out of it because we all think drama triangle is about drama and, hysteria, crying, somebody rescuing, it's not that simple. And I want to invite any psychotherapist to make a comment about this, but in the comments, because this is not live. But it was really, really interesting. And also, not just actually psychotherapists, I want anybody who's experienced what I'm going to talk about to put that in the comments as well. So, so the drama triangle is a triangle where somebody is either a victim, they're being a persecutor, or a rescuer. So it's somebody that takes on a role, um, and I'm just looking at my notes because even though I know it, I want to talk about it in a proper way. Um, so they are enter, so that one of them takes on a role and they get players. So it's similar to, like you got the narcissistic, so-called narcissistic flying monkeys, where they're players. When you enter a drama triangle, whether you're a victim, persecutor, or rescuer, you enlist players. Otherwise, it can't happen. It's almost like a love triangle. If there's two people in a relationship, it's called it's two people, but you only enter a love triangle if you agree to play on that role, and it's normally in the drama triangle anyway. um, and they talk about narcissists triangulating. It's very similar dynamic but different. So they take on a roles, and sometimes they switch roles. So you've got a victim. So the victim is a classic, poor me, this has happened to me, everybody's being horrible to me. Um, and so the language will be, why are they doing things this to me? Why is this happening to me? I've been in that role. And normally when I'm saying that, when I'm in therapy, my therapist will kind of pull that up, and say, this is, you're going down that road. And it's something I use with my clients as well. if they're saying, if they're standing on the triangle, then I will definitely bring it to their attention as a coach, as an NLP practitioner, because in NLP we use that. So we would use the meta model to get deeper into why they're doing that, or we may go into a procedure called peripheral positions or perceptual positions, actually, where you go into the roles of each to see things from their point of view. And so I'm so glad I have the tools of NLP, because I can use those models without going down the counselling route. Um, and so the victim is poor me, always feels like life is happening to them, things are happening to them, people are doing things to them. And again, if you're brought up in a certain race or culture, you're going to embody this. So it's really hard to bring yourself from it. So the victim is usually wanting the key help from the rescuer. And so the rescuer is somebody that was, again, I associate with this before in the past. There's a crisis, I'm going to help this person. This person needs me. If they don't need me, I'm a bad person. So, but a rescuer is a classic enabler. A classic enabler. And they are going to, as long as you have a rescuer that's helping you in your life, you're not going to move forward, because that rescuer is keeping where you are on this triangle. So the rescuer either has to stop, and that's when she would be seen by the victim as a persecutor, or another victim in their own right. I can't help rescuing this person. They're draining me. I can't do it. All the words when you start saying, these people are draining me, I can't do anything because they're constantly draining me, you are stepping willingly on the drama triangle. So so then you've got the villain, which is the persecutor. Again, the villain is, it's your fault, you did this. They blame, they control, they manipulate. Nothing is ever their problem. And we see this when we label people as narcissists. And again, it's not for me to label anybody, but I'm just going into the common language, which is common, which is thrown around a lot these days. And so the victim is a person, is, you did this, you're to blame, therefore you. And so thus the triangle begins. So again, it can happen in families where one person needs help, and so they're like, poor me, I'm going to die if you don't do this. If it happens to you, I'm going to die. If you do this, if you leave me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Sometimes parents will say that when their kids are growing up, go outside, if anything happens to you, just be safe. Then the child gets angry and says, stop saying that. Why are you behaving like this? So they become the persecutor. Or they may step into the rescuer role where, okay, I'm not going to go out, or I'm not going to go away to college. I'm not going to do what I meant to do. I'm going to stay here and make you feel safe, but then I'm going to become a victim. And that's what happened to me. A lot of the times I switched between victim, rescuer, rescuing people, and then I got really angry and became the persecutor. Being really kind of angry. And it wasn't until having therapy, even if I knew this in all the workshops, all the trainings I did, it was so buried after a while, because I was able to intellectualize the obvious part of me being a rescuer or persecutor. And then I became, I'm so aware, I'm holier than thou, I'm not going to rescue, but I'm just going to be an adult. Underneath, I was still operating the script. Hello? So the unconscious, what happens is in the triangle is that everybody has unconscious wishes that they need to be met. And therefore, we will use on the triangle by any means necessary, as Malcolm would say, to get somebody to do what we need to do. So if it's to get them to be in our lives, if it's to get them to stop doing something, we're going to use anything on this drama. And so it creates codependencies. It's normally comes from, it's from, family. So it's a habit. And and for me, I think if you've got this classic rescuing victim, or you're on a constant on the drama triangle, I just think therapy or NLP. Yes, you can also take psychedelics, under the guise in a legal country under the guise of a therapist. But I do think that integration is needed. I do think therapeutic intervention is needed, because the mind is so clever. Unless you know somebody who has an awareness of this, um, you will keep running those scripts. And even in terms of attracting somebody who's a narcissist, if you continue to play the victim role and you still blame, even after recovery, we've all been through somewhere or another an abusive relationship. Well, most of us. If you haven't, you're blessed. But the key is to really protect yourself, to really learn about the drama triangle, because you will find in every role, remember the role switch. So if it's almost like being bitten by a vampire, if you haven't been bitten, then you're fine. But most of us have been bitten by who we perceive to be our persecutors. So we will go on to do that with somebody else. So there's another triangle called the winner's triangle. Um, and it changes the dynamic, where the victim actually looks at the situation and accepts, takes accountability in their part in that role. The persecutor realize they need to be assertive as opposed to being aggressive. So asking for what you want instead of saying, you need to do this, you're wrong, you're this. Many people, again, depending on what spectrum they're on, are not going to drop into that, especially if they've got abusive tendencies. But even if they've got abusive tendency, they're always going to find a role player. So if you come off of this and disengage, which is the best way, is to disengage from the game, whether it's somebody being a victim, persecutor, and rescuer. If you just say, I'm just not playing this game, or stepping away from it, you're not going to be in the drama triangle. But you just have to be aware that you're going to be called out. You're going to be called selfish. You're going to be called, you've changed. You're going to be called, you think you're just, all you feel about is yourself. You'll even probably be called a narcissist. But then you can just say to the person, when you're ready to meet me in a place where you're taking accountability, then I'm happy to spend time with you. I'm happy to help you with this situation. Or I'm happy to support you through something, or refer you on to the right people. So with the winner's triangle again, and with the rescuer, is to be able to know that you can care for somebody, you can have empathy, you can have concern for people, but you're not there to solve the problem. And so it's really interesting about the whole dynamic and what to do. And I do think it's something where you just look at what role you're playing, and stopping to play the game. So refuse to be in the game. And also the game is in a drama triangle, somebody's either more inferior or superior. When you notice that, less than or more than, as my therapist would say, when you notice how you're feeling in that situation, support yourself and step away from that. Because in every relationship, there's always going to be give and taking. There's always going to be a distribution of power, but not people feeling inferior or superior. And they use this a lot in psychotherapy and transactional analysis. But being aware that you're not nobody's child, regardless if that's a partner, family member, or friend, or co-worker. You're not anybody's child. Double negative. You're not anybody's child. And so it's keep bringing yourself back to the adult. And there's been a couple of times where people have wanted me to come on the triangle, the obvious triangle, and I'm just like, that's drama. I will not participate in that, because if you want me to act in this situation with this person, you're wanting me to rescue somebody. So you are seen as a persecutor, or you're the victim. You want me to rescue somebody so I can turn the persecutor into a victim. I'm not doing that. Or you're in a relationship and the person says you. If you've been brought up as a classic rescuer, which most women of color, most immigrant women, you know, men too, but if you've been in a certain family dynamic, then this is going to be in the forefront of your behavior. And the unconscious behavior is the subtleties, is rescuing people because you don't want to deal with your own anxieties, which is the typical rescuer, um, operational behavior. Is because they don't want to deal with what's going on with them, so they will perceive to put a problem onto somebody else or rescue everybody else. They will be meddling. A victim, again, is somebody who doesn't want to take accountability. If Groucho, not Groucho Marx, what's his name? Einstein, doing the same thing again and again is insanity. If you know that you're in a place where you feel that you're not getting the good stuff in your life, this is where you enlist the help of a therapist or a coach. I cannot stress this enough. Most of us are getting to a point in our life we cannot do it on our own. And if you are in a place of poor me, or they did this to me, and it's more than one person and it's a repeat pattern, get the help. Really important, get the help. I cannot stress this enough. My clients will tell you, if they're going in the drama triangle, I will be pulling them off. The same way my therapist and my coach is going to pull me off. Thank God for that, because the session I had yesterday had got me through my artist block. I'm preparing work. I've got funded from the Arts Council. I had a block. I realised it was part of this drama triangle, which I wrote about. And it got me through, really, and such is the beauty of therapy, and such is the beauty of a therapeutic relationship, regardless of what that relationship is. It's the realizations that we have. And so I'm going to sign off, put some comments. I didn't do a live yet because I'm going to talk about it another time. But if you want support, DM me or email me or book a discovery call with me. I'm not going to give you therapy because I'm not a therapist. But if you want coaching, if you want support through your creative business or your life, your creative life, then I'm the person that can help you with that. But if you just want to know to find a good therapist, still drop me a DM and I can put you in touch with some really good therapists that are doing amazing work around this. And tag anybody you know, anybody you think that might help from this, because let's make this world much more better. And especially with people that don't realize that they're using this dynamic, or they're in the triangle. We're here to support you. There's so much resources on here, so let's support each other, and let's be vulnerable about what's going on, and let's talk about our experiences, because we can help the next generation. The next generations are suffering from so much anxiety and depression, and I really have an idea that a lot of it could be this there on the triangle. I'm going to leave that with you. Bye.